just one question, Shockwave.
Yes, sir.
Are you in the same universe as me? 'Cause we're both purple.
No, I created this purple glue that mutated my whole paint scheme, and I look amazing.
Oh, well, I guess I'm the only one in my universe now. 'Cause everyone I know is dead. Thanks a lot. You are no help.
Well, would you like some purple goo as well? So guys, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this Baiwei knockoff of the Transformers Studio Series Dark of the Moon Leader Class, Shockwave. Now, this is a Baiwei product, and I believe his name is Spock. That's a goofy name for this figure. Might as well call him One-Eyed Willy or something. Anyways, the character is from the movie that really pushed PG-13 to its limits. Or pushed its limits is how you say it. Anyways, this guy was present in the movie, and all he did was stand around making menacing noises and stuff. Then he died. Like, got his eye ripped out, kinda died. And then lost a chunk of this and that. Anyways, I got this figure at AliExpress for only 20 bucks. I am not kidding. Now compare that price point to the original Hasbro figure. And look at the paint scheme on this guy. It's way much better than this. You could barely see any purple. The only time you can see purple is like either here, or here. Whereas with the knockoff, you could see plenty of purple. Yeah, never mind this guy. This guy's 100 bucks. No way. And besides, he looks much better. The painting and sculpting, pretty good. As you can see, the head sculpt is way much different, and I think this head was taken out of another knockoff, which is basically the original Hasbro product, but like bigger. Yeah, no way I can afford that. Anyways, the quality on this figure is, I mean, the plastic feels a little less than what we're getting with the Hasbro product. There also happens to be rubber on like random places or something like that. But that was seen with Studio Series Shockwave in the weirdest places. With the Baiwei knockoff, I believe they kind of toned that down a bit, in which honestly, in my opinion, is a better call. I mean, this figure does have rubber, but the rubber on the knockoff feels more sturdier and doesn't look like it's going to easily bend like this. I mean, both can bend in the same way, but with this one it'll take more force to do so. Oh, and remember Shockwave's rubbery cable? Yeah, it feels a little bit more sturdy than the Studio Series Shockwave's cable. Oh yeah, looking at the back over here, I believe these were little energy sources, which, I don't know, they generated energy from somewhere, and then it went down into the little tube over here, and then yeah, you probably know the rest. I believe that was seen in the Transformers Dark of the Moon video game that was out at the time during Dark of the Moon's marketing campaign in 2011. And of course, what's a knockoff without its die-cast metal parts? Or actually, I think this one is the only one with a die-cast metal piece. For some reason, I'm not feeling anything cold from this part right here. Wait, did they just cut down on some die-cast metal parts? Uh-oh. It's fine. At least the die-cast metal parts are still there. Now, this is one thing I never pointed out to, or I think I haven't pointed out to, in my old review back in 2022 of the original Studio Series Shockwave, but Shockwave over here does have a little bit of engineering coming from the Studio Series 13 Megatron. Most notably on the top part of the thighs right here. I mean, look at that. It's a perfect match. Or I wonder if it was remolded to make it a little bit bigger than the original. Whatever, they still do the same thing for transformation, which we'll get to later in the video. But wait, we're not done yet, as Shockwave does have another piece right here, which the 13 Megatron does so happen to also have. But this piece was also upscaled as well. And that was the same thing for the original Studio Series Shockwave. Also, I really like how these treads are sticking out over here. However, it looks an awful lot like Megatron's front toe. Maybe because it is. Can you split it in half like the no, you cannot. One thing I forgot to mention about the quality on this figure's head is that it's very loose. Give it a nice shake, and you should see why. Looks like he's rocking to some heavy metal music, just the way his head is bobbing up and down like that. What are you, a Funko Pop? But this is an issue other people have with this figure, not just mine. So, yeah, I'm assuming there's a way where you can tighten the little ball joint right there. There is a way to tighten a ball joint like that. But I believe it is a method using this type of, like, I don't know, it could be hydrogen peroxide and a paper of a Q-tip, which is something that is commonly used for Studio Series Ratchet's ball joints for his legs. Haven't tried it yet, and I don't think they use hydrogen peroxide. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyways, there is another figure that Baiwei is planning on releasing that I think is currently out for pre-order on AliExpress, and that is a knockoff of the 13 Megatron. And boy oh boy does that look amazing, and I've already pre-ordered it, can't wait for it to come. But you know what this means, having a Baiwei figure, is that I actually have a figure where you could swap out this silly little arm cannon for his claw arm that goes like this. So yeah, I look forward to that figure very much. Oh, and by the way, that figure is $23, which is $3 more than this guy. But there is a difference between that because the KO Studio Series 13 Megatron that I got, I decided to get it with the box, whereas this guy not so much. I didn't get him with the box for some reason. So yeah, that's why he's a little cheaper. Still, $20 is a big deal. Even with the box, this figure wouldn't have gone under 25 or so, which is a great deal. Anyways, I think it's time we talk about his accessories. Most notably his big old arm cannon, which when I got it out of the mail came in with some assembly required. Easy fix, and hey, without this, you can do a stop motion with this guy where, say, Optimus Prime uses his sword, chops it off, and there you go, say goodbye to your little cannon, Shockwave. It's just an idea. I'm sure someone's probably gonna do that. Maybe me, Also, there happens to be a thumb on the cannon. Real quick, this is die-cast metal. For some reason, I couldn't feel it because it wasn't cold for some reason. So yeah, sorry for the inconvenience there. Anyways, turning to this arm, the figure also comes with this nice little sword, which just so happens to be hard metal and not hard metal, hard plastic, and not rubber this time. Also, if I recall, in the rubbery plastic sword, the tab right here used to be over here, but they moved it over there because when you plug it in, there should be a little bit more of the sword sticking out, which was something that wasn't in the original. I don't know, let's do a comparison. Seems to me like there's not much different as to how far the sword sticks out between the original and the knockoff. But I think the sword on the knockoff sticks out more than the original. And if you want, you could take the original accessory from the Studio Series one and plug it onto the bottom of the sword, so there you go. Shockwave has an overkill arm. I'm getting Age of Extinction Lockdown vibes.
Tell me, where is he hiding? Where is Optimus Prime? I'll do you one better. Why is Optimus Prime? That is from Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, you illogical copycat. Pew!
By the way, there's no weapon storage for the sword besides the bottom port over here. That I guess just goes under there and doesn't do much. I don't know, I don't think that's weapon storage. I think this port right here and that port right there are two options of where you want to store the sword so he can impale his victims. What on earth did Shockwave even do to his victims? I don't know, I'm sure there's plenty of information in the IDW comics. Also, another difference between the figure and the original is that there used to be these little tabs right here, but they've completely omitted that out with the knockoff. Which I believe that tab was used for this little marine minifigure that came with the Studio Series Shockwave that happened to have a little... Oh, the camera is off focus right there. One sec. Okay, it doesn't want to focus for some reason. But anyways, there's a port right there that would peg in right there as a way of this guy, you know, jumping over Shockwave trying to shoot him. But it seems quite inaccurate. Here's how it should look. Also, this is something I never did in my previous review of this guy right here, but I believe this is supposed to reduce fall damage if you drop this due to how this is made. I don't know, let's test it out. Yeah, no. Forgot to mention that this piece on the arm is removable, which has literally no reason to be removable, but hey, it could work for your stop motions. Like say Optimus Prime is slicing down Shockwave with the swords, and a few pieces fall off. This could work. But I think it's time we finally get down to articulation. So starting off, ball joint at the head, which is on a ball hinge right there, and another hinge joint, and then a third hinge joint over here, but I think that's used for transformation. Anyways, the head can move up and down, and can't forget the swivel. These pieces on the back move up and down, full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, bicep swivel, bend at the elbow. Now, before in the Hasbro product, the hand can only move up and down, but This time in the Baiwei knockoff, they've added a swivel joint, and all three of the figures plus the thumb are on a ball joint, and for some reason this thing likes to pop off. Easy fix. The articulation for the other arm is basically the same thing except there's no hand. But there is this nice little thumb that just moves up and down like that. I guess when he folds his hand like that is a way of pulling the trigger for the cannon. I don't know, maybe. Unfortunately, the figure doesn't have a waist swivel, but it's okay. At least the legs can spread. Leg can move forward, can move backwards. Thigh rotation, bend at the knee. Knee pads move up and down. The foot is on a double hinge, which allows the foot to extend its little bending thing. And hey, I guess this is also the other figure that can do this. There was another figure that could do something similar to this, and it was the Studio Series 86 Ironhide / Ratchet mold. Anyways, the foot can move up and down and rock from side to side. Except for some reason this annoying piece keeps on blocking the foot from moving from side to side because it keeps on hitting this little piece right here. So move it as far down as it can, so that way you can allow some pivot joint going on. And of course there's this messy thing which is on a hinge joint and another hinge joint. What I recommend you do is just fold it in to prevent these pieces from annoying you. So the articulation is great, and it's enough to allow for pretty decent posability for this guy. Anyways, I think it's time we start talking about the size comparison. Starting off with the original Studio Series Shockwave, I feel like this guy is slightly taller than this guy. Core class Shockwave, can't wait for that Voyager class Bumblebee movie Shockwave. Baiwei 07 Megs, Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, Studio Series Movie 3 Megatron, and whatever you call that little green thing right there. Baiwei Sentinel Prime, Studio Series Thundercracker, Crankcase and Crowbar, Studio Series Barricade, Studio Series Soundwave, Laserbeak, Bumblebee, Sideswipe, Dino. Moving on to the Wreckers, Leadfoot and his little doggy. Hey Dougie, Topspin, Roadbuster, Ratchet, Baiwei Ironhide, Baiwei Optimus Prime, but with the white paint scheme. Let's just say this is Ultra Magnus without all that extra armor. And lastly, Transformers Studio Series Optimus Prime. They've got my trailer. I need that flight tech. Oh, and here he is with the entire gang of Decepticons from the third movie. Thundercracker's there as well, but he's hiding behind Shockwave. But it's okay. He decided not to show up in the movie. I guess the only thing we're missing from this team of Decepticons is Hatchet. But he is coming out next year. But this time I hear he's not going to be with the yellow boxes anymore. They're going back to just the original boxes with some Target exclusive label slapped on it, which is interesting. Finally, no more of those ugly yellow boxes. Although, how are they going to reissue? Is it just going to be a package refresh? But except with the only at Target label on all of them? I don't know, maybe. Still, can't wait for Hatchet. And soon enough, I hope Hasbro makes those protoforms that were also present in Dark of the Moon. Maybe even sometime in the future, we could also have those little aircraft that were flying around the city in Dark of the Moon. Hopefully Hasbro in the future makes some of those. And hey, those would probably be the very first vehicles that you could actually stuff in a Transformers figure onto. Well, I think the deluxe class figures would only fit. The Voyagers would be too big. Well, anyways, I think it's time we get down to transformation, which I believe is a little bit more on the simplistic side. It's not too hard. And there's like little to no differences with this guy's transformation and the original's transformation. But anyways, I recommend working on the legs. What you're going to do is you're just going to straighten them out, close in these little knee pads, and then what you're going to do next is you're going to move this out, extend the foot, and then just push it down like so. And then this annoying piece is just going to stay here for now. What you're going to do next is spread the legs out like that. You do the same thing for the other side. Oh, and make sure you push that all the way down. Now, before we move on to the body, I recommend you remove this. Next, what you're going to want to do is untab the little shoulder joints right here. Oh, and then rip out Shockwave's head. Untab the backpack right here, and then move this out like so. And then we're going to move the legs up like this, and then there should be a slot right here that will peg into that tab right there. Make sure both connect, forming one side of the bottom of the tank, and then you just go ahead and make sure that it's closed in like there. Now over here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to push this down so that way this tab right here will peg into that slot right there a little bit more easily. Next, you'll come to the arms, close that in, and there should be a slot right there that will peg into that tab right there. Oh, and make sure the hand is folded, or the fingers are folded in, so that way it doesn't give you too much problems when moving the arm down like so. You do the same thing for the other side, and then we're gonna come back to the back, and then these two tabs right here will peg into those two slots right there. Make sure they both tab in together. Oh shoot. Now what you're gonna want to do with this is honestly the way you're supposed to connect to this and this when there's this little thing that you have to, push it through. It's kind of dumb, so I'm just going to skip this part. And then lastly, for weapon storage, it is recommended that the sword goes on top over there. But if you want to fill in some gaps over here, you can tab it right onto there, and that should cover up a little bit of stuff. And I prefer it this way. Anyways, here we have Shockwave in his alternate mode, and yeah, it's another metal slug. But hey, still looks cool, and the transformation and engineering is similar to that of the 13 Megatron. I mean, rightfully, look at it. The feet are placed in the front, the head is also in the same way, with these little locks closing them in place. The cannons also happen to be on the top, and both molds have treads, of course. Now, the alternate mode for Shockwave, I feel, is a little bit too, metal slug-ish, but that's quite expected when it comes to, Bayverse tank modes or Cybertronian tank modes. And I understand when designing the Studio Series Shockwave mold, there were some decisions that had to be made in order to make a perfect figure of the character in the movie. And so this is the alternate mode they came up with. Just a folded in body, I guess. And you know what? It's fine. I like it. It's pretty good. Oh, and if you want, you could remove this, so this could work as articulation for the cannon. And you know what? That actually looks pretty cool doing that. Oh, and by the way, the figure rolls nicely. And I wonder if this could be used as boosters to make this guy go, full speed, I guess. It seems like it. And of course, why not do a comparison of the knockoff and the original Studio Series Shockwave? And as you can see, they're pretty much the same thing, except, of course, the paint scheme is different, and the sword, and the head sculpts. Now, if I'm being quite honest with you, I feel the plastic is a little bit more sturdier and feels a little bit better than this, but nonetheless, this figure is cheaper than the original, in which I hear the original might get a reissue, but it's going to be Target exclusive. It's not going to be labeled buzzworthy anymore. But at the same time, it's still rumored that Shockwave is going to be the new Target exclusive leader reissue. I mean, we don't 100% know yet. I mean, it could be Jetfire, but if I had to put my money on the two, I think it would be this guy. Either way, this figure would still be cheaper than this guy. But anyways, leave a comment down below which one you like more. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I have to say for this guy. Overall, he's a pretty great figure, especially for how much he goes for. Now, real quick, I forgot to do a little comparison between him and Brains and Wheelie, so here you go. If you're thinking of picking up this figure, I recommend you check out AliExpress, as the deals on AliExpress are significantly better than the deals on Amazon for this guy. And then I guess you could also check out Shozy Store, which is another website where you can get knockoffs for around the same amount of price points that you see on AliExpress. Oh, and by the way, eBay's out of the question. Anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well. Be sure to turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another video. And most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button so that way this YouTube channel can pass 5,000 subscribers before 2024. Well, anyways, I think that's pretty much it. See ya!